I was born into an artistic family. My father, he's a painter. My grandfather was a famous calligrapher in Cirebon, which is about 3 hours drive from Jakarta. At a young age, I was convinced that I would be involved in drawings and painting. However, as much as I tried, I never really felt comfortable. When I was living in Candobolin, I met a Kuri artist who taught me the art of weaving. I struggle with the whole concept, and I still cringe a little when I see my early works. Really, it wasn't until I arrived in Orange that the art of weaving all fell into place. I get my inspirations from my father's paintings that I have throughout the house, but also Balinese love colors. So growing up in that environment, I just feel I'm naturally drawn to create colorful pieces. As for the baskets and the many other items I create, I find sometimes I start the creation with something in mind, but then halfway through, I change direction and create something totally different. I even take materials with me on my occasional flights to Bali so that I can create these little items. I perfected the art of weaving through books. I have read a lot of books, but also from studying other people's works. There's a whole lot of community on the net of weavers. They're really positive, kind, sharing people. And that's one of the reasons I think I love being a weaver, because I want to be part of that positive, caring community. I use natural grasses and vines that I source from my yard, and then I dry them properly in the garage. Once they're dry, I then have to soak them in a bath just to make them pliable again before I can stitch them. With creations that need stitching, I normally use raffia, and I buy them natural and then I dye them myself. But also you can use other things like New Zealand flax. You can strip them off and use that as a stitching material too. I also love going to the Resource Recovery Centre, the op shops, recycling depot, anywhere where I can find this material that I can use for my creation, especially the more sculptural pieces. I love it when friends drop by and gave me a bunch of, their prunings, especially Carol from next door. She's always dropping by, lavender prunings, pruners, beautiful things that I find I can really use in my weavings. Hallie from Condo, who sort of took nearly a year to collect this big round piece of wisteria for me. I love weaving because to me it's really calming. You really can let your creativity flows, and it's a very soothing activity. Depends on the material also. I love the flexibility of not having to have a particular material to create something. I love also the fact that you can reuse and recycle a lot of the material, because it gets quite costly to always purchase material. So when you can take something that's more or less discarded items, like your prunings from your backyard, and then create something not always functional, sometimes it could just be beautiful object. I find satisfaction in doing that.